Welcome to this week's show. My name is Ali Mona, and I'm a health strategist and online business coach if we haven't met yet. And every week, I bring you live interviews with experts kind of across a broad spectrum of health and wellness topics. And together, our aim is to elevate our holistic wellness to new heights. And so, the other thing that's important to me is building community, global community. I've been an expat for almost 2 decades. Steph, do you believe that?
That's crazy.
Almost 2 decades. That's actually how Stephanie and I met back in the day.
Over a
In
decade
June.
ago, which is
A
wild.
decade ago, which is crazy. So I'm deeply committed to empowering individuals worldwide to foster more freedom and possibility in their lives. And so today is no exception. Stephanie's back for episode 3 out of 4 in our Wealthy Woman series. And today, what we're talking about is mastering your money mindset. So if you missed the first 2 shows with Steph, go back on my page here and listen to them. The first one, we talked about budgeting, the B word, budgeting. And then the second one, last week, we talked about debt repayment. And that debt repayment show stuff, I had my husband listen to, and we're going to sit down with the debts that we do have outstanding and try to organize them in a way that makes sense for us. And so I want to thank you for that
Nice.
show. And I want to welcome you back for today.
Thank you. Yes. Happy Financial Literacy Month.
Hmm. I know it's been really impactful for me, and I hope that if you guys have been watching it too, it's been impactful to you. And it's such an important wellness topic. I had someone reach out and say, why are you talking finance? Right. And I think today's episode is going to be really critical to understand why we talk finance as a health and wellness topic, because the stress around finances, how we speak to ourselves about our finances, impacts our mental health, our emotional health, which then impacts our physical health as well. So we can't skip this topic, guys. If we're looking for whole body, whole person wellness, you cannot ignore your financial wellness. Yeah.
No, it
So, Steph,
seeps.
where are we go ahead. Where
Yeah,
are
I
we
was gonna
going
say it
today?
seeps its
Mindset.
fingers into literally every part of your life. Like if you think your money or your emotions and how you feel every day and your outlook on the world and all of that like is not somehow connected to money, you might be delusional. I don't
You're
know.
wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
Or a
And
billionaire. I don't know. And then
that's
in
right.
this, you're probably not watching this show anyway.
Yeah, it's true. You're not watching it if you're a bazillionaire. So, the other thing that is important, if you want to make that direct connection to health and wellness, physical and mental health is expensive. It costs money. It's an investment that we make now to live healthier, longer in the future. And you need extra to be able to do that. Yeah.
Yep.
So this week we're talking money mindset. And then next week, guys, we're talking about investing demystified, right? So what does investing look like when you've done the work of budgeting, when you've done the work of your debt repayment, when your mindset is right? What do you do with the extra money that you have? That's what we're going to talk about next week. Excuse me. Next week. So, Steph, why don't you take it away with money mindset? Where are we starting today?
Yeah. So thanks again for having me back. I think you're going to love this conversation. As are all of you out there. So, with money mindset, like I said, it seeps its way, mindset seeps its way into every part of your life, right? So when I go about working with people through money mindset, to me, there's 3 components. There's, your thoughts. Well, not there's more than 3 components, but there's your thoughts, your beliefs, and your words, right? Words matter, your thoughts matter. And the coaching model I use, I think this was from Brooke Castillo, and don't hate me. I know there's like a lot of rabbit holes we could go down about the life coach school, but I just really love this like thought model. My mentor, Kel Siddiqui with the Financial Coach Academy uses it a lot. So I'm going to introduce it really quickly here. And then we'll come back to it as like I weave it into how I go about coaching money mindset. So, which mindset in general, it's constant work throughout your journey, right? Throughout your health journey, working out, like we never stop working on mindset. So with mindset and like our results in general, there's a circumstance, right? I'm in debt is the circumstance, or I owe this much money to somebody is the circumstance, or I make this much money at my job is a circumstance, right? We have thoughts about that circumstance, and those thoughts dictate our feelings about them, right? So we have feelings about the thoughts we tell ourselves. And based on those feelings is where we take action from. And then the actions we take determine the results, right? So that is the coaching model, the thought model we're going to work through here is circumstance, thoughts, feelings, actions, and results. So you can root that back to literally anything in your life. But we're just going to quickly overview that. And now, and I'll weave it back through. You'll see how this comes together and how I work through money mindset with people. So the first thing we need to do to talk about money mindset and write a new one for most people is, becoming aware of and establishing like our current money emotions. So money emotions, like how do you feel when you think about or hear words related to the word money? How do you feel? And you can answer some of these, Allie. How do you feel when you hear the word budget? How do you feel when you hear the word debt? How do you feel when you think about retirement? When you check your bank account, right? How do you feel about spending and saving and investing? If I just made you think about checking your bank account and you automatically like, well, something is probably wrong with your money mindset and your money relationship, right? So like examine how you feel in your body and the words that come to mind when you think about those things. You're like, so for you, I don't know, what kind of thoughts or emotions came up when I said money, budget, debt, retirement?
Yeah, my husband and I had an interesting conversation around spending.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no joy in spending my money, which
Mm-hmm.
is something that I need to work on. I will be working on because I work hard, right?
Yeah.
Like we work hard for our money. And if there's no joy because there's, unclarity or
Mm-hmm.
confusion around where your money's going or how much money do I have the money to spend on this? My
Yeah.
kid needs new shoes. Am I going to go into debt this month because I have to buy new shoes? For me, it's ambiguity, which
Mm-hmm.
makes me go around spending.
Yeah.
Even though I might have the money. I probably do have the money. We can cash flow new shoes. But for me, it's the ambiguity around where we are
Mm-hmm.
that makes me feel pinched. There's no openness or joy around
Yeah.
spending for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a really great observation. So if we think about that, like what are your primary emotions when it comes to money? You said pinched, like lack of joy. And what do those emotions or like innate responses in your brain tell you about your current beliefs about or current relationship with money, right? There might be some ambiguity, there might be some stress, there might be some, anxiety of like, can I afford this? Like you're not even clear on whether you can or not. And that creates stress or anxiety or drains the joy out of being able to spend the money in the way that you want to. Right. So if we're looking at, okay, what are my emotions or thoughts that come up when I hear those kinds of words or think about checking my bank account or think about retirement? Like, are they more negative or positive? And if they're, on either side, are those thoughts and emotions serving you in a positive way? Like,
Yeah, it's interesting, Steph, when we were back in China and we had made that commitment to getting out of debt,
mhm,
my emotions around money flipped almost overnight.
mm,
And so I know from experience that mindset shifts are super powerful when it
mhm,
comes to your financial health. And I also have experience from negative to positive. Now I'm back to negative.
mhm.
And so it
Yeah,
can
that's
shift too
interesting.
throughout your journey.
Yep. Yeah. So, then you start to ask yourself the question, like, how do I want to feel about this? Like, how do I, if my overwhelming emotions were like negative, when I start thinking about saving money, budgeting, spending, investing, all those things, if that's negative, or even just kind of like blah, ambiguity,
Neutral.
like a joyful emotion, right? How do I want to feel about this? Do I want to be optimistic, empowered, joyful, abundant, peaceful, motivated, excited? We don't necessarily need to go from like doom and gloom to sunshine and rainbows overnight. Like that's just not reality, right? But you can try moving a little toward the middle. So something like grounded, confident,
Mm.
responsible, um, assured, content. Like those are a little bit more neutral emotions. Like we don't have to go to, like I said, sunshine and rainbows, but
Right.
you can move the needle toward the middle. Like, how do I want to feel about this? So step 2 is deciding how you want to think and feel and act toward money, right? And in any journey, like the biggest part of growth, especially with mindset, is deciding we have a choice, right? Once we've decided, we need to put that into practice. So how do we put that into practice, right? The next thing is looking at our thoughts. So, when you come across money situations and like, what do you find yourself saying about money? You say, I'm so bad at this, like I suck at math, I'm a failure, I'll never be able to retire. Like, I don't know, what are your like innate scripts that you root back to?
I don't know if I have scripts that are, well, I must. So let me think for a second, because everyone has scripts.
Yep.
Um,
While you're thinking, I'll tell a little story.
yeah.
I've had the script, I suck at math for like ever. And when I was entering into middle school, we took a placement exam to see if we got to go into like the remedial math, the like normal math, or like the smart kid math, right? Like basically, did you test into, um, you know, 7th grade math, right? The accelerated
Right.
like
At
math.
grade level, below grade
Mhm.
level, or above grade level.
Yeah. So I took that test and I got put in the regular level, right? A bunch of my friends got put in the smart kid math, which I say. And so from that point on, even though I didn't like, I wasn't below grade level, I was at it. I told myself that I sucked at math
Mhm.
because I didn't get put with my friends in the smart kid math and I wanted to be in the smart kid math. So my whole life, middle school, high school, math became very hard for me. College, I avoided math as much as I could. Um, because I told myself I sucked at math that whole time, right? So I had this negative relationship with math. I had this negative mindset about math. I didn't test into the accelerated math, therefore I am dumb and I suck at math. So that shaped my entire belief system around math. I found out after college that I actually tested into the elevated above grade level math. And my parents decided they didn't want to put that much stress on me. And they chose for me to enroll me in the grade level math.
No way.
Yeah. And I was pissed because I'm like, if I had at least known that I tested into the smart kid math, like maybe my entire relationship with math, what I chose to do with my degree, right? How easy and hard those classes were for me would have completely changed if I had known that I had tested into the smart kid math. Instead, I spent, a decade of schooling telling myself that I was dumb and sucked at math because in 5th grade, I didn't test, or I didn't think I tested into the smart kid math. I just was the regular person. So
Well, and I
that's
wonder
like,
too, if you hadn't known that, if you would have entered into money coaching, right?
I don't
Because if you
know.
didn't know, I mean, if you continued that narrative, would you have had the guts to do it? Who knows? Who knows?
Oh, probably. Because I don't remember where along that journey I found that out, but I might have made better decisions along the way if I
Mhm.
had been like, I'm good at numbers, right? So
Yeah,
anyway, so
our
what are
belief
your
systems.
like, yeah, what are
I
your
figured it out.
scripts?
My narrative is irresponsibility.
Mm-hmm,
You got yourself out of it and then got yourself back into it, right? That's the narrative.
mm-hmm.
It's the how did you let this happen again? And now we're nowhere near. I'm
Yeah,
the one that has like 2000 in debt and panics, like can't take it. We're nowhere near the multiple tens of thousands that we had,
yeah.
when but even then, I think because I've gotten out of it once, I remember how good that felt to have that extra,
Mm-hmm.
right? I want to get back there. That's where I want to get back to.
Yeah. So when you tell yourself, like, how did you get back into this? I can't believe you got out of this and you got back into it again. You're so irresponsible. Right? How are those thoughts? How does that make you feel? Listening to that, if I'm like telling you, you're so irresponsible. How did you get
Yes.
back into this? How,
Shut up, Steph. Why are you being so mean?
how does that make you feel though?
Little and irresponsible.
Yeah.
Like I
So
can't make better choices.
Mm-hmm. So if that's how you're feeling, that's what you're telling yourself. What are the actions you're gonna take based on that feeling, based on those thoughts?
For me, it's fear of spending anything
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want
So
to be irresponsible again. I know I'm not irresponsible. Like I know it, but without silencing that mindset that
mhm,
wants to keep me feeling small, it
yep,
makes me, that's where that pinch of spending comes.
yeah,
It doesn't push me to spend more. Well, you're irresponsible, so okay, just keep being irresponsible. It just makes me have no joy in spending anything. That's
yeah. I
the
was gonna
outcome.
say, so are those feelings and thoughts ever gonna lead to joy in your money life?
Never.
Yeah. So going back to that thought model, right? If we want to change our actions, which are a direct correlation to our feelings, we got to change our thoughts about it, right? So in order to feel differently, we need to change our thoughts to work our way back up that coaching model. So in order to like reprogram your brain from past or more negative thoughts around money, we got to start paying attention to it first, right? Paying attention to those automatic thoughts, right? It took you a minute to come up with that. It's not, they're so ingrained. You're like, I don't even have thoughts. And you're like, you stop and take a look and you realize these things that you say to yourself throughout different, situations. Um, and then, so we have to notice them, right? And then
Mhm.
we have to choose to replace them with new thoughts, right? And then the new thoughts are going to lead to new feelings. And then those are going to lead to new actions.
Mhm.
Uh, so when we've established how we want to feel, right? The question was, how do I want to feel about this? Do I want to feel joyful? Do I want to feel empowered? Do I feel confident? Once we've decided how we want to feel, we have to take that a step further. And I got this from another podcast I listened to that I love, Kristen Carter's I Have ADHD podcast. She takes it a step further and says, what would I need to think in order to
Mhm.
feel that way? Right? Not just how do I want to feel? And then what would I need to think in order to feel that way? I just noticed that I have a coffee stain on my shirt.
You're good, girlfriend. Looking good.
Um, yeah. So what do I need to think in order to feel the way I want to feel? So
Yeah.
if your ingrained thought is like, I can't believe no one taught me this. Why didn't I learn this in school?
Why
There's
didn't I
always
take responsibility earlier? Right? Why didn't
yeah.
I teach myself this earlier? Yeah.
Mhm. There's that meme that goes around every tax season that's like, I'm so glad I learned, like, this is coming in handy this parallelogram season, right? Like, you see that one all the time. Okay, why didn't anyone teach me this, right?
Mm.
We got to catch it, recognize it, and then choose to upgrade it. So, an example of that upgraded thought could be, I am learning what I need to know now, right?
Mm.
Or I'm
It's
so
never
far
too
behind.
late.
Yeah, I'm so far
Mhm.
behind. It's never too late, right? Or
Mhm.
where I start doesn't determine where I end up.
Mhm.
Where I aim does. The one I love, especially when helping teach children and like talking to your kids about money, um, is the whole, oh, we can't afford that. Or, we can't afford that right now. It's not in the budget. That already starts programming their brains to like scarcity. So
Mhm.
instead, you can say, I am choosing, or we are choosing not to spend money on that right now.
That's right.
We're choosing.
That's a daily in my house.
Yeah, we're choosing not to spend money on that right now because we are choosing to spend it on something else that's gonna, help our long-term goals. Or, like I don't know where to start. Like a lot of people are, I don't even know where to start. I can do one small thing every day to start making progress, right? It's little steps. So how do those thoughts, then we need to look at money relationships. So that's another part of this component is how do these thoughts and words create our money relationship, right? So if you are constantly telling yourself, like, I can't believe you got into that mess again, or you're so dumb at math, you suck at this, you know, do you feel like what does that reflect about your relationship with money? Or I'll put it this way, if you're always thinking about your spouse, like, ugh, I can't believe he did that again, or why is he always, doing this to irritate me, right? What does that tell you about how your relationship is going?
Pretty bad. I think for me, it's lack of trust.
Yeah.
If I tell myself, you're irresponsible, you got into this mess again, that's telling me that I don't trust myself.
Mhm.
When the reality is, like the story I could be telling, which is equally true and more true than the irresponsibility is, boy, am I so glad that I had a business and a savings that could meet us and serve us through a really hard transition,
Yeah.
right? Like, wow, just because that savings is gone doesn't mean that we can't rebuild it back again,
Yep. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Also, like, say if you worked at a job and told yourself every day, I hate this job, or I'm never going to be good at this job. Like, do you think you're going to be successful there?
Mm.
Right? If that's literally what you're telling yourself every day. So, similarly, if we tell ourselves, like, I'm never going to be good at money, or I'll never have enough money, we're probably never going to be good at managing it. Uh,
Self-fulfilling prophecy. No?
yeah. Yep. So, in order to change our financial world, right, we need to change the way we think and feel and what we believe about money. And a lot of people, some people get confused on like, what is a money relationship? Like, I don't have a relationship with money. Like, a relationship is simply the way in which like two or more concepts or objects or people are connected, right? You have a relationship with your kids, you have a relationship with your cat, you have a relationship with food, you have a relationship with fitness. Like, you definitely have a relationship with money. So, like, do you
Mhm.
feel like money is always controlling you, or are you in control of your money? Again, how do you feel when that word comes up? If they're mostly negative, like, how is that affecting your experience with money?
Mhm. The other
So,
thing too, Steph, it's like you can't avoid money.
no,
Like we don't live in a world
we don't live in a barter society anymore.
like we don't. And
No,
so just kind of like debt, right? We cannot just sweep it under the rug
yeah,
and wish that it'll go away. Like this is something that we have to manage and
yeah,
have to change for that better future. It's not going away.
yeah. No, and our lives and relationships are generally only as good as the thoughts we have about them and the words we speak about them.
Mm.
Right? In everything, in your relationships, right? If you're constantly bad mouthing your spouse to your friends, like, you can't go home and have like a wonderful relationship.
Mm.
So yeah, I'll repeat that. Our lives and relationships are generally only as good as the thoughts we have and words we speak about them. So if
Mhm.
you want your relationship with money to be confident, fun, abundant, positive, right? Then your thoughts and words about money need to mirror those qualities. So mastering the mindset, is one of the most important aspects of financial change. So where are we at? We've reflected on our money emotions and our thoughts, right? We've decided what we want them to look like. We've
Mhm.
made the choice to up level and replace those thoughts. And you're going to do that on rinse and repeat. Like, that's a constant cycle. Reflect, decide what I want it to look like. What do I want to feel? What do we need to think in order to feel that way? Right? And then make the choice to actually think that, replace those thoughts.
Mhm.
But I don't want to skip over this. We also need to forgive ourselves for the past. Like, I could spend a whole hour just talking about money relationship and reflecting on where it came from, how it was shaped, like your family of origin, relationships, career field. There's whole career field set that perpetuate the scarcity mindset. But
Mhm.
the short of it is that we need to recognize, our money relationship, recognize that it doesn't have to be what we've inherited. You don't have to just live out those patterns and continue doing it.
Right.
You can forgive the past and then choose to design it in the way that you want, that's authentic to you and the way you want to live your life. Right. And that again starts with the choice of like, what am I going to think in order to feel the way I want to
Mhm.
feel? So for a lot of people, it's like even just giving themselves permission to have a positive money mindset. Um, that's hard for people. Like, wait,
Mhm.
what? I can have a positive money mindset if I wanted to. Um, a lot of people just don't even recognize that that's a choice, but it is. So, some things I like to ask people in order to help them start to feel more positively about money or look at it more positively is, how does money positively impact the world?
Mm.
Maybe you can answer that.
Money, money, money buys options,
Mhm.
right? Like it buys options for you personally, for your and like direct connections and family and your community. And then with abundance, you can literally shape the world.
Yep.
right?
So why are you worthy of money?
Because I want to do big things. I want to make a big impact,
Yeah, there you
right?
go.
Like money to me means impact. It means
Mhm,
influence,
mhm,
right? And the people with lots of money get to make influential decisions that
mhm.
literally shape the world.
Yep. Yep. So why is the world better off when you have money?
100%.
Um, so then I help people to start thinking like, what does a healthy money relationship look like for you?
Hmm. I
A
think
lot of people.
at a baseline, it's joy in spending
Mhm.
my hard-earned dollars or
Yeah.
pesos. Yes. But there's joy, there's flow, there's
Mhm.
no pinch. It's open and abundant, not seeing money as what like when I'm spending, it feels like I'm losing, not
Mhm.
gaining.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people have a hard time thinking like, what does that look like? I don't know what a healthy money relationship looks like. Well, think about a healthy, like intimate relationship. What does the healthy, partnership look like to you?
Mm.
That's a lot easier to describe, openness, honesty, communication, right? Benefit of the doubt.
Joy,
Mhm.
adventure, you know.
Yeah. Positive, intent, positive connotations, right? Okay. Now replace that with like money,
Mhm.
joy, openness, communication, right? You're not communicating with money, but you're communicating to yourself about money and you're
Mhm.
working with it. You're checking your accounts, you're spending time budgeting, you're, spending time looking at your transactions. Like that's a relationship. You're still spending time dealing with it, right? So, yeah, what does that healthy relationship look like for you? And then what do you need to stop doing or start doing, right, to make that relationship happen? And the hint is that it starts with your thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so the next piece of money mindset is identity, is looking at your identity. Developing better habits requires not just behavior change, but really identity change.
Mhm.
So, in the book Atomic Habits, James Clear talks about that process for changing your identity. It's deciding like the person you want to become and proving to yourself that you're that person in small ways every day. But this is because why is it not just behavior change? Why is it not just money habits? Why do we have to do the mindset work? When you identify as someone or something, it's difficult to act contrary to that identity. So, like if
Right.
you identify as a vegetarian, it's easy for you to not eat meat, like because being a vegetarian is simply like who you are. It is
Yep.
ingrained in you, right? Eating meat would be in direct opposition of who you are. Studies have shown like the identity is a strong driver of behavior. So people that were like trying to quit smoking, um, if they were offered a cigarette and they said like, no, I'm not a smoker, or people who identified themselves as not a smoker had more success in quitting for good than those just say, I'm trying to quit
That's
smoking.
right.
So
Yeah.
the ones who say I'm not a smoker, they've linked it to how they define themselves, right? Rather than just a behavior they do or don't do,
Mm.
right? So identifying as like, I am a weightlifter or I am a hiker, I am an athlete. I hike every weekend, right? I lift 3 times a week. If I just say like, I'm trying to lift,
Yeah.
I'm someone that's trying to work out, the behaviors and the identity. Um, a lot of us maybe identify as a wife versus
Mhm.
like, I'm someone who's just trying to be a wife.
And
Probably not gonna like go as well. So yeah, your financial identity is how you identify yourself when it comes to money, right? So your financial identity is the sum of your like values, your behaviors, your goals, your purpose, and the influence you want to have about.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, again, back to the two-step process for changing your identity. Decide the person who you want to be, and then prove it to yourself in small ways every day that you are that person. So in order to change our money habits and behaviors for good, we have to look at, what type of person we even want to be with our money. Do I want to
Right.
be a millionaire, a generous millionaire who retires at 62? Like, who do you want to be when it comes to money?
Hmm. Yep. I am statements are incredibly powerful,
Yeah.
right? And you can practice them before you fully embody it. It's like
Yep. Exactly.
on the road to embodiment, I
Mhm.
am versus I want to be, or I
Yep.
need to be even. I need to be doesn't actually that piles on guilt rather than identity,
Yep.
right? I am somebody who's in control of my finances. I am somebody who
Mhm.
builds wealth. I'm
Yep.
somebody who builds generational wealth. I am breaking
Generational.
generational blah for my kids.
Yeah. So then you can start like putting that into practice by, acting and making decisions now based on that identity, right?
Mhm.
How would someone with my financial identity, somebody who is breaking cycles, somebody who is a change maker, somebody who gives back to the community, someone who is leaving an influential legacy, how would someone who becomes a generous millionaire and retires at 62 make spending decisions now to
Yep.
further that goal? Would they go out to eat 3 to 5 times a week, or would they pack a lunch and cook at
Mm-hmm.
home? You know,
Mm-hmm.
is that person, putting money away for retirement and long-term goals before they start paying monthly expenses? Or, how much of their monthly income would someone who becomes a generous millionaire be saving at my age?
Right.
Uh, so like, what are some of the questions you got to think of questions you can ask yourself when making decisions, to check if they're in alignment with my financial identity.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be like, how does someone who, travels the world, how do I budget at this time in my life?
Yeah.
Is this decision in line with that or not?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think of any questions you ask yourself when it comes to your spending, like if it's in alignment with your goals and who you want to be, or who you are trying to embody as someone who is the, manager of their own money?
Yeah. Well, and this shifts, identity shifts and grows. So
Mhm.
if you think of the millionaire example and you're listening and you're like, I can't even put that on as a t-shirt to try,
No.
right? Put on the t-shirt of I am responsible with my spending,
Mhm.
right? And then once that t-shirt like feels really comfy and feels like it's yours, then try on the next sweater that
Mhm.
feels a little uncomfortable, like a little bit of a stretch. Like you don't have to quantum leap to the millionaire mindset now. You can baby step it and still be super effective in getting to that mindset goal.
Yep. Or like, I am someone who lives a debt-free lifestyle, if that's what you want, right? I am
Yep.
someone who pays off my debts. Okay, then how does someone who pays off their debts budget right now?
Hmm. Hmm.
Are you paying off debt with whatever's left at the end of the month, or are you making it a priority and pulling it off the top?
Yep. That
Um,
identity piece is so, 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 so crucial.
yeah. So, and making those everyday spending and savings decisions are easier, like when your financial identity and goals are clear, right? I am someone that pays off debt. I am debt free. I live a
Hmm.
debt-free lifestyle. Okay, how are you making decisions? If that's the goal, it's easy to walk into Target and not like blow a whole paycheck, right? If you have no
Without
goal,
feeling like you're missing out,
yep.
right? Like that's the important piece of the identity for me is no, he who has this identity doesn't do those behaviors and doesn't miss out, like doesn't feel bad about it because I'm on the path to this identity that I'm looking towards.
Again, like I am choosing not to spend that right now,
Mhm.
right? Because it's not in
Mhm.
alignment with my goals. So yeah, start making those decisions now. You're gonna make mistakes, but doing your best to succeed like most of the time, right? The more you prove it to yourself in small ways every day, the more you believe that's who you are, the more you will become that person. So, if we're going back to the coaching model, if I'm telling myself like I'm someone that pays off my credit card every single month, I don't carry a balance. I'm someone that doesn't carry a balance, right? That thought is going to feel like more empowered, more grounded, more clear, and confident, then I can't believe you got back into debt.
Right.
You suck at this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then what feelings am I going to take out of that action? Or out of that thought? I am someone that pays off doesn't hold a balance. Okay, I'm feeling clear, grounded. I have a goal. So the actions I'm going to take is probably like making dang sure I'm paying off that credit card balance every month. Right.
Yep.
And then what are the results going to be? Results in, again, me being someone that doesn't carry a balance. The
Mm-hmm.
results are going to be me being someone who is putting away extra towards something else, right?
Right.
That's not paying interest, right? So do you see how your thoughts and like those feelings then create that action, which determines your results? So
Yeah,
if
I
we're,
love that you can reverse engineer it.
yes,
You can
absolutely.
you can see which way you've been going,
Mhm.
right? Like that awareness piece.
What have my
And then you
results
can
been?
that's
Yeah.
right. And then you reverse it. What do I want my results to be?
Yep. Hmm.
If
So
somebody who has those results, what identity would they hold?
yeah, what actions is it going to take
Right.
to get those results, right?
Yep.
So then how would I need to feel to get those, like to do those actions?
Mhm.
And
And then
then,
what are my thoughts around it?
yep, what would I
Right.
need to think in order to feel that way?
Yes.
So the circumstance doesn't necessarily have to change, right? If the circumstance is I have debt,
Mhm.
I'm thinking, gosh, you suck, Allie. I can't believe you got back into this, right? Then you're gonna feel like crap. You're gonna feel down on yourself. You're gonna feel small. You're gonna feel out of control of the
Mhm.
situation, and you're gonna take actions that don't get you out of debt again for good, right? The circumstance, I have debt. Okay, the thought is, I am someone that pays off my debts, right? I am someone that doesn't carry a balance. I
Mhm.
am someone who is responsible with money. Now I'm feeling more confident. I'm feeling like I have a clear goal. I'm feeling empowered. I'm feeling grounded.
Right.
Actions I take is paying off that sucker every month, right? And then my results are going to be much different. But the circumstance never changed.
Right. Here changed.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I know that was a lot. That was a 30-minute deep dive on mindset, thought models,
Mhm.
um, thought exercises, and who do you really want to be? But yeah, you can forward engineer it, you can reverse engineer it. It's the mindfulness and the intentional thoughts and actions behind it. Um,
So I have a question, Steph. What happens in a partnership, relationship, marriage, whatever you might be, if your money is combined and you hold two mindsets? I can tell you what Ron and I did, but I'm curious about how you coach that.
yeah, you got to get on the same page. And even if the mindsets aren't the same, acknowledging and like learning what the mindsets are, right? You
Hmm.
gotta it depends on how people are motivated. What I do with a lot of my clients that are couples, they each fill out a survey and I have them check different boxes. I'm like, when it comes to money, I feel this way and I want to do this. And a lot of times their answers overlap so much, like more
Mm-hmm.
than they even realize. And I like to
Hmm.
start out with that and pointing out how maybe their motivations are different or their thoughts and feelings around it are different, but like their goals and their how they're feeling about like their situation and when it comes to money what they want to do are a lot of times more similar than they are different. So I think pointing that out to begin with and finding the common threads
Right.
is really important. And you can feel different ways about something and still get to the same end result, right?
Hmm.
But you got to get on the same page on like why you're doing this, right?
Yeah.
If you both have different like long-term goals, like if you're like, I want to, die a millionaire and leave all of our money to like, the organization that did heart surgery on your
Hmm.
little one. And Ron is like the guy that's like, I want to die with zero because I can't take any of it to the grave,
Right.
right? That's two very different identities. That's two very different ways you're going to approach spending and saving and investing. Um, that might require some marriage therapy, right? Like that
Yeah.
might be a
Yeah.
my because that is like not
Disparate,
reconcilable. Yeah.
right?
But you gotta yeah, you gotta have the same why. You gotta have this shared dreams. I'm a huge fan of Gottman therapy, and shared
Mm-hmm.
experience and shared dreams together are such a huge cornerstone of making that relationship successful, right? They might be on different timelines. You might have
Right,
different thoughts and ways to get there. But yeah, you can have different mindsets to an extent, right? But again, if they're like, I'm a spender and I'm going to live it up, and, dying with zero is the goal because it means I broke even, right?
right,
That's a completely different mindset than I want to be generous and have this, 20 million in the bank in a trust that is like changing generation and generation. Nothing's
right.
wrong with either of those, right? There's no right or
Sure.
wrong. Um, but you got to get on that kind of same page with your partner.
Yeah,
At the
for
very
sure.
least, yeah.
Well, one of the things that, so Ron and I hold different money mindsets naturally, but one of the ways that we've reconciled is what is the money situation we want as a family? So there's
Mhm.
like, for us, there's three entities. There's Ron, there's me, and there's the Mona family.
Mhm.
And so that allows us, that framework allows us to put down our individual
Mhm.
hangups or shortcomings or
Mhm.
thoughts,
Yep.
negative thoughts around finances, and build something outside of my history, his history, and allows us to look at it's like a completely different like entity,
Yep.
which has been really powerful in
Yeah, that's
saying,
really
well, what do
cool.
we, yeah, what do we
Mhm.
do as a family? Like, what do we want the legacy of the family
Mhm.
to be? That's been really effective. So that's another thing that you could explore, guys, if
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know how to reconcile this, right? Especially if one is scarcity, one is abundant, one wants to spend, one doesn't, right? One feels really confident, one feels really insecure about finances. Like, okay, that's fine.
Yep.
But what do we want this third entity to look and feel like with
Yep.
our finances?
And you can separate those out into different bank accounts, right? Like Ron can have his little, like, this is Ron's fun money, and Ron's do whatever he wants with his own, abundance mindset money. But
Mhm.
there's a parameter there, right? And you can have what does Allie want to do with her little scarcity mindset pile of accounts? And then
Mhm.
what does that look like as a family, right? It doesn't have to be, you don't have to combine finances all the time. Like you
Mhm.
can have different, you know, operandums. But again, that third entity, okay, what do we want to look like as a couple? Or even if you're a business owner, like what do I want the legacy of my business to be? If my business were to, if I were to die, do I have enough money to pay my taxes and savings? Do I have a
Mhm.
contingency plan where someone's going to follow up with my current clients? Am I going to have money saved that person, the coach, can take on my clients, and there's money in that business to transfer to them for that work, right? What
Mhm.
legacy do I want my business to lead? That's a whole
Right.
different entity than like my personal money.
That's right. And mindset matters across business accounts, across business growth and family and personal. And even if you're single, right? Like, what do you want that legacy to be? It's
Yep.
not just family. Um, but yeah, this was a super important conversation. And mindset's funny because, Steph, you can ask me all these questions. And if you're listening to the replay or whatever, and you're thinking about some of these answers, there's still massive benefit of having a one-on-one conversation and digging in. So guys, Steph is available for coaching. I'm going to put all of her links. What did I say? Up in the thing, down in the thing. Last week I was like, in the caption, in the thing. Anyway, you can reach out to Steph because money mindset, this is week 3, but money mindset is really the foundation
Ongoing.
of of where we're going, and it doesn't you don't stop working on it, right? Because it grows as you grow, and your dreams, your first dream might just be feeling in control, and then you want to get out of debt, and then all of a sudden you find yourself with extra and you're like, what now, what do
Yeah.
I do?
Yeah.
Right? And you have to grow that money mindset into somebody who builds wealth, right? Not just somebody who doesn't keep a balance, but now I'm a wealth builder,
Mhm.
right? And so that's a different skill set. That's a different mindset that you put on like that jacket and go, actually, I am a wealth builder,
Yeah.
right? And having that coaching is a really critical, important part of this. So if you want, please reach out to Stephanie. she is available for you. And then next week, why don't you give a little teaser, Steph? Investing demystified. So
Mm,
once we have that identity, once we have that extra, that's what we're going to talk about next week.
yeah. And, I just want to break down like the myths about it or the prestige. Like people are so intimidated by investing, and there's so many ways you can just get out there and do it yourself.
Yep.
And again, thoughts, right? Oh, investing is scary. I don't have money to invest, blah, 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 right? Like, I just want to leave with that. Like, remember that our thoughts create our feelings, right? Which determine our actions. If you're telling yourself investing is scary, I don't know, I don't understand the stock market, investing is risky, I don't have enough money to invest, that's all going to determine kind of whether you're like are ready to invest or not.
That's right.
But again, like those new thoughts lead to new emotions, which lead to new actions. So the more you
Mhm.
repeat your new thoughts that you're choosing, the stronger that connection is going to become in your brain. And it starts with just a couple of positive money affirmations, right? Like,
Mhm.
and doesn't have to be sunshine and rainbows, but you can say like, I can build wealth through small decisions I take every day, right?
Yep.
I am worthy of making and having money. I can save money. Like
Mhm.
I am worthy of money. The world is a better place when I have more money.
Mhm.
I don't have to be perfect to transform my finances. Um, money helps me do what's most important to me. If you're looking and telling money, oh, money controls me and money is so restrictive and blah, 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 that's not going to lead you down the path. So it doesn't take that much, right? It just takes some intentional effort, which easier said than done, but just start with one thought this week or maybe two and catch yourself that script and try to up level it. What does up leveling it look like to you? I can learn what I don't know. That's why we're here. That's why
Yep.
you tune in to Allie's videos every week. You're learning something you didn't know before. And that the same is true with money. And that again is definitely going to impact your stress, your anxiety, which we all know
Mhm.
affects long-term health outcomes for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Steph. I look forward to
Oh,
investing demystified next week. And again, guys, reach out if you want Steph's help. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll see you again next week.
Sally, bye. Have a great week.
Bye.